and God appreciated the way it is. Because the moment we begin to do, the moment we don't have any specific tangible reason that adds value to who we are, then we are diving into how will I call it? Into some daring territories. Do we understand that? Because here's how I look at it. What do I gain from getting a tattoo? Pretty much nothing. What do I lose? What do I lose from not having it? What do you lose? Nothing. Pretty much. Exactly. So sometimes, see, Bible said that all things are permissible, but not all things are profitable. All things are permissible, but not all things are profitable. So, based on the understanding that we have in this day and age, when you come to the terms of some of these things, we've seen people who have tattoo all over the world, and when they grow, how does that tattoo look like? When their skin becomes saggy, how does it look like? Does that tattoo still replicate what it? Yes. Does that tattoo still replicate what it is? So, what exactly should be the turning point where it has become a need for me? It is never a need. I don't need it for survival. It's a want. So it's still a choice. That's the point. That's the point that we need to understand. Everything we do on this earth is a choice we have to make. God made it so much so that even serving Him is a choice we have to make. So it is not. You don't need the tattoo to survive. It is not like an inhaler. I need that if I'm out of breath, I need to inhale in to survive. The date of my loved one, if writing it on paper is not good enough for me, if I cannot write it and frame it on my wall and remember him, and I want to put it on my body, the question that I want to ask myself is that, do I need that to survive? Do I need it? I don't think so. And I know you don't need that. Do I want it? Maybe you want it. So that becomes a choice then. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Please let's
Okay.
get the questions go. Let's get, because that will bring up a lot of things. There are a lot of
I
materials, a
think I
lot of
have a
things.
question.
Go ahead. Mhm.
Okay, so like my brother just said, right?
Mhm.
So when I read when you read on the Leviticus 19:28, it says
Mhm.
that do not cut your body for the dead or put out marks on yourselves. I am the Lord. So should we say that this is what the Lord has said? Therefore, if you do the otherwise, it's a sin, right?
What verse are you talking about, please? Should
In
we say that? What?
Leviticus 19:28.
Mhm.
It says, "Do not cut your bodies for the dead, or put tattoo marks yourself on yourselves. I am the Lord." But
Mhm.
above it, which is the 7, it says, "Do not cut the hair at the sides of your head, or
Mhm.
clip off the edges of your breast
Mhm.
of your beard." So I
Mhm.
think this is what my brother was relating to previously, to say that,
Mhm.
are we trying to pick and choose what we should do and what we should not do? Because definitely people are doing what, cutting the edges of their beard and also cutting the hair like the sides of their head. But we are not talking about that one. We are rather
Mhm.
emphasizing everything on tattoo and leaving the beard and the hair side.
Mhm. No.
Because I've definitely also had somebody. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah. So, like I said earlier, Bible is never independent of culture. Let me explain this further. When the people of Israel moved from Egypt to the promised land, remember, they have never had a nation before. Neither have they ever had a leadership. Do you understand that? So when they moved to the promised land, there were several things that need to be set in place. And all those things were set in place according to how and what God wanted them to do. So there were social laws, there were moral laws, There were spiritual laws. Okay, so all these laws were set in place. There are some of you, you will have a nose piercing, but you will never go to interview with your earring in your nose. Why wouldn't you?
Most jobs don't want that.
Exactly. Why? See, so if you categorize everything, even the beer that we are talking about, there are some areas that they define it for you what it should be and what it should not. But all I'm trying to help us understand is this. Number one, Bible is not independent of culture. And I've said it earlier that the way we worship, Africans, we worship, it's not the same way the typical white American church worships. We sing, we praise, we dance. You go to America, you go to white church, they stand in their pew and everybody sings and sit down. So culture is always an integral part of service and of worship. Where we come from is part of us. But my question is, I asked that question earlier. When we came to America here, there is nothing called American culture. Every culture we see here is an adaptation from somewhere else. Because if we want to practice American culture, then the Native American culture is what we should have. And does the Native American culture stipulate that? No. America does not have a culture. We have the Irish American culture. We have the Italian American culture. We have the African American culture. So we should also have the Ghanaian American culture. So if we are saying, if we want to talk strictly of culture, then that also defines us too.
So let's talk on the perspective where I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
Ghanaian. I
Mm-hmm.
don't
Oh
know
no.
anything
Mm-hmm.
about the Ghanaian culture,
Mm-hmm.
right?
No, I'm yeah.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
know anything about the Ghanaian.
Mm-hmm.
I was born and bred in America. I was born and
Mm-hmm.
bred in America, and living in America,
Mm-hmm.
let's say I don't even know anything about culture. I'm just trying to live my life right. I'm just trying to
Mm-hmm.
live life, and I
Mm-hmm.
get a tattoo. So I know me from coming from Ghana, I definitely know that getting a tattoo, they'll be like, hey, this is not good. But with somebody, and I believe we have people on the line who were born here,
Mm-hmm.
who doesn't know anything about Ghanaian culture or whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
But then, with this kind of person, they don't know that there is a culture that prohibits tattoo. But now, I just want us to go with the fact that this is what the Bible is saying,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is what the Bible is saying. It says
Mm-hmm.
two different things.
Mm-hmm.
And when people base, especially Africans, they see tattoo as something else, right? They see tattoo as something else. Even when you go to church and your fellow brothers sit beside you and you have tattoos around your hand, they see you to be different. But when you go to this American people, or when you go to this black or white people at church, you join them at church and they have tattoos, they make you feel very comfortable. So then it becomes like a cultural thing then. So it's
Oh,
like, okay, is the
mhm.
culturally it is wrong? Then maybe religiously or spiritually it is not. Unless we want to say that, okay, then we're not gonna cut our hair, we're not gonna shave our beard, then we're not gonna do tattoos too.
Okay. Let me address that concern. It is wrong of us. Let me be very, very direct. It is wrong of us, or it is wrong for anybody who do that. I can tell you categorically does not understand the Bible or the Word of God. That is for somebody to walk into church with a tattoo, and because of that I will see him as something, then that means I do not understand where I am. Why am I saying that? Because I don't know where that person has been. I don't know whether that person was raised in whatever culture where they've been. There are people in the Amazon, when they are born and their parents make those marks on them. Such a person can come to the saving knowledge of Christ. Can they take that indelible mark off their face? No. So any Christian who will look at anybody with that perspective is immature. I am saying that on without mincing words. any Christian, no matter how old or position they hold, if they will see somebody with such a tattoo or something, then that person is immature. Okay, that's my number one. Number two, anybody who is born here, the parents came from somewhere. America is a nation of immigrants. Anybody born here, that is the reason why even the census that we just did, everybody is associated with a group of people. I just completed the census form yesterday. Every group, every demography has a classification. You are identified by some demography. African Americans do have a culture. There are things that you say, oh, no, we don't do, black people, we don't do that. Don't. Why would they say that if they were just born in America? So there is some. They say, oh, you don't do that in my mama's house. No, yes, there is a culture. They are informed by where they are from originally. So it is not possible to assume that anybody here just exists in vacuum. That is not possible. We are aligned with some group of people, and the value of that culture influences our decision. Where we come from influences how we look at things. I am not going to lie about that, and that is the reason why it will be wrong of me to see anybody and then have a thought of that person, because it doesn't necessarily mean it. Because if I see somebody, I don't know where the person is coming from, I don't know who that person is, and I will assume all of a sudden that that person is dead wrong without even listening to their story. That makes me immature. Okay. The other part of the most important thing is this: much as our bodies are the temple of God, you and I, like I have established from the very beginning of this conversation, this is a dirt body. It returns to the dirt. The spirit, on the other hand, lives on. That becomes the central focus of God, which is the reason why whenever you are doing anything to this body, your mind, through your soul, your conscience, speaks through your spirit to you. Because it is always difficult for humans to understand that we are spirit living in a body rather than we are a body trying to live spiritually. You are a spirit living in a body. You are not a body trying to be spiritual. So when we understand that, then I will always tell you this: aside of the physical stuff, where is your heart with God? Because this body will definitely sink down this earth. It's never going to leave this earth. This physical body is never going to leave this earth. It belongs to this earth. It's going to die here. It's going to remain here. But the spirit does not. Does that make sense? I know that we are always focusing, we are always contending. This what we are discussing here, it's not new. Whatever you are fighting with your parent, it's not new. Whatever you are seeing about piercing nose, piercing ears, tattoo, it's not new. This argument, it has been with the church from its inception. It's not new. And it is not, this argument is not going to change. You will grow, and there will be generations after you that will be questioning the same thing you're questioning today. But the ballpark is this: one, what value does this add to me as a person? Number two, what benefit do I gain from this spiritually? Because the spirit is supposed to be the most important. The body is important on this earth here, but the spirit is that which lives on. So if I can evaluate that, because look, in this world, human beings naturally, there are two things we do. Everything we do is we look at the advantage and disadvantages. You take medications. Every medication you take have a side effect. But the reason why you take it is that the benefits outweigh the side effect. So you take it. Okay? You don't take it because it doesn't have a side effect. You take it because the side effect outweighs the benefit. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, what benefit do I get? And why should I make that a contention? But that also doesn't mean that if I see somebody with it, I should judge the person outright. I am in no position. And anybody who does that, I can say categorically, still needs a lot of growing in the Christian faith. Because there are several people who've done a lot of things in their lives, and they will come back and tell you, you know what, I wish I hadn't done this. I've known people who had tattoo and they're like, man, I wish I didn't do this when I was growing up. I've met several of them, and they say it. But that doesn't mean that they are inferior. We all have a trajectory that we pass through in life. And our levels of understanding is different. But the truth is that we understand it by and by as we grow. Understanding and level of comprehension of the word of God. That's why I said from the beginning that this conversation is meant to challenge your thought. It's not meant to change you. Spirit will do the changing because that is the work of God. That's the work of the Holy Spirit. So most of these conversations never, never uh, 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 change everything you think. No, but it helps bring the thought, and through that, the Holy Spirit informs your thought and bring you to that understanding.
Uncle Patrick, I have like a little like comment. This
Mm-hmm.
I feel like because of the judgment of people, especially people who are in the house of God, I feel like there's a lot of judgment specifically that comes from like some Christians a lot. And even when someone has, let's say, done something wrong that do a lot, there was someone who was a fornicator, like whatever it may be. Once they come into the house of the Lord and like they repent, they speak about their sins to God and they ask for forgiveness. I feel like with some Christians, they will always label you with that specific sin instead of looking at the fact that you're trying to make something better for your life. And like with this like that, how do you even go about it? Because it's like that label will always be on you. And it's what I feel like makes it so hard at times, or even like our generation, to be able to have conversations like that. Because no matter what, it's like that's what they always see you as.
Yeah, and that is why I'm saying that. Look, to be honest with you, I think you, Gloria, you know, I've always said this. You know, I've said some crazy things that sometimes make people turn their eyebrow at church. You know, you remember when I made a statement that uh, your parents shouldn't be thinking about depending on you because it is not spiritual. Bible says a good man must leave down riches for his children's children. I have a lot of parents call me and challenge and talk about that because see, these are some of the cultural norms. They have stuck with us for so long that uh, when you try to address them, it becomes hard. But that should not discourage you because here is the thing: any man is in Christ is a new creature. None of those people are going to be your judge. You are only accountable to God, the Lord God Almighty. And that is why I'm asking that we understand the Bible from the concept of kingdom point of view. Because when you understand it that way, it is no longer a religious practice. When our parents came to America, right? They came to America with the hope of a good life. When they came to America, they came to learn how to adjust to the laws of America. All right. It was easy for them because they foresee that the benefits of being here outweigh the challenges of trying to adjust to the law, trying to, because Ghana, if a police pull you over, you give him 5 Ghana, they let you go. There's no record on your driving record. Here, your driving record is kept for to the extent that you can even not get a job. Our parents have adjusted to it. Why did they adjust to it? Because they understood that the benefit outweigh the challenges that they have to adjust to. It is the same way we have to look at Christianity. That when I become a child of God, I have come into a new nation, a new country, and that country have some new laws. The laws may not be as comfortable to me as possible, but the truth is that me being in this country benefits me far more than the country that I was in. So if that is the case, then it should be easy for me to adjust to the laws of this new country. And that is how Christianity is. Most of us Christians grow up looking at things from the physical point of view. I have had a lot of challenges with the church. To be honest with you, I am very logical and I am very analytical and critical thinker. And I challenge a lot of things because it is easy to to uh to bring up a young lady who is pregnant in the church. I am not saying that that is right. That is wrong. But it's easy for us to bring the person in church and make public spectacle of him or her, right? Because she is pregnant or because the guy who impregnated her is also known. But how about those who are actually fornicating and haven't gotten pregnant yet? See, these are questions I know you guys are all having in your head because I've been through this whole thing. I've been through that whole ordeal and that whole thinking process. Okay, so because humans as we are only capable of seeing that which is outward, as God told Samuel when Samuel went to the house to go and anoint David. He said, "You look at the outward, but I look at the inward." And I want us to focus more on that. It is good to have all these discussions, but what benefit is these discussions if our spiritual life doesn't correlate with Him?